So on Monday, Colts owner Jim Irsay was on the Pat McAfee show, and he said a little bit about rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson that has been sort of blowing up across the media. So I want you to take a listen real quick to that.
So for Anthony Richardson, it's going to be tough. We know that, but he has to play to get better. I mean, there's no question. Gardner could come out and obviously play better early on, just being a veteran. But we have to get Anthony on the field, and that's Shane's call when he decides to do it.
Now, before I get into the take on this, I do want to get your thoughts and opinions on it. If you're a fan of a team with a rookie quarterback, specifically a first-round rookie quarterback, do you favor the method of starting them from day one, or do you favor the method of letting them sit for possibly several weeks or even up to the entire first season to sort of get their feet under them before throwing them into the deep end of NFL play? Let me know in those comments down below. So one of the takes that I heard from that is that Jim Irsay is dictating to head coach Shane Steichen when Anthony Richardson is going to start playing for the Colts, when he's going to be the starting quarterback. And I don't necessarily see that in that audio clip. It looks like, to me, Jim Irsay clearly has a preference that Anthony Richardson is on the field early, and I would expect that Anthony Richardson would be the starter heading into the regular season. But to me, this is all just common sense, in the sense that Gardner Minshew is a fun backup. He's a fun personality, but you know that he is not the quarterback moving forward. He is not going to be the starting quarterback of the Colts any beyond the first few handful of weeks at best in the 2023 season. And to me, and it sounds like Jim Irsay is in this boat, but to me, it's better to just go ahead and get your rookie quarterback started and setting expectations at a realistic level. So the Colts, which are expected to be a pretty bad team by most, though I'm not as quite negative about them as I think a lot of people are, because in my mind, they still do have a few weapons. They could actually be competitive in a lot of games this season, but a lot of people sort of see the Colts as a bottom dweller in 2023. And as long as you're clear with Anthony Richardson that you don't necessarily expect a playoff run year one. Now, to be clear, we're not saying that the Colts don't expect to win games, but it's important to be realistic about where the team is. And if the rookie quarterback doesn't feel like they are at fault if they're losing football games, then to me, that's probably not going to hurt their development. And those added snaps that you're going to get in real world live scenarios by being the starting quarterback, I think are going to outweigh any potential negatives of struggling in year one. Now, here's what starting Anthony Richardson does do for the Colts. It sort of speeds up the timeline for evaluation of both the head coach and the rookie quarterback. So year one, I think everyone expects the Colts to be pretty bad. No one's putting a lot on them if they don't actually win a lot of games. Year two, what you would like to see if you're a Colts fan is Anthony Richardson starting to look like a true starting quarterback in the NFL. Now, again, year two, maybe the team isn't quite to the playoffs yet, but you should see a clear positive progression. And sort of the same thing goes for a first-time head coach with Shane Steichen. You would expect him to get better at managing the game. You would expect the team to sort of settle into the flow of how it's going to operate under him. And by starting your rookie quarterback early and often, hopefully by the end of year two, you have a pretty good idea of where you stand with both the head coach and the quarterback. Now, that's not to say that you should only give them 2 years to develop, but in this sort of world where teams want to get good quick, teams are looking for quick turnarounds from their rookie quarterbacks or from their young quarterbacks, it's just easier to evaluate if you start them off from the get-go. You have a first-time head coach, a rookie quarterback. By starting them together and just from the get-go putting them in the same boat together, you can see if this thing is going to work by year two, or is it time to think about moving on after a couple of years? By starting Anthony Richardson now, you can at least get a head start on that evaluation process. And just to paint the perspective here, if you hold off on starting Anthony Richardson until the end of year 1, or possibly even clear until year 2 if Gardner Minshew was playing pretty well, it gets really tough to gauge how much Anthony Richardson is actually developing. If you don't have a good starting point underneath him with his evaluation, you kind of just see, if you start him in year 2, for instance, you know where he is in year 2, and you can see where he gets by the end of year 2, but you can't see how much progressions actually happened since he entered the NFL. So those are just my thoughts on this sort of soundbite from the Pat McAfee show. Link in the description down below to that episode. And also, while you're down there, like, share, subscribe. Otherwise, YouTube's going to send you some more videos from my channel for you to watch. I'm on out of here.